Random House Audible presents The Sky Green Blues by Tanith Lee, read for you by Eliza Foss. There, the nights were always green. He had filled the garden with lamps of wax paper, some on poles, some hanging from the boughs of trees. Inside each one was a candle. The manservant trimmed, replaced, lit them at sunset, going up and down the narrow paths, between the palms and the bamboos, the huge rhododendrons and cunibaias. As light faded from the sky, instead the garden filled with it, as if it had sucked the light down, the reason for night. And in the darkness, as the crickets remorselessly scratched, the garden pulsed green as jade. A great moth, with the wingspan of a sparrow, fluttered through the garden, trying to immolate itself in a lamp, any lamp. "The aperture in these lamps is too small for the big moths to penetrate," he said with satisfaction. He liked that, cheating a moth of its suicide. In the veranda, the single oil lamp made his face very yellow. He was old, about 70 or older, carved with wrinkles, a life's work. His name was Lohno. "You're cruel," I remarked. "Why? Because I won't let the moth kill itself?" "Yes, Francis, that's probably true." But it was more than that. The carving of his face showed his cruelty. It was cruelty, his 70 or more years of cruel jeers and patronizing smiles and frowns that had formed its present shape. I thought briefly, what would mine show if I lived so long? Indolence, perhaps? Indecision? But he said suddenly, "Laitel says the enemy are almost here. Tomorrow, the next day." Laitel was the manservant. He heard things when he went shopping in the market for rice, roots, meat and fruit, and other staples of Lohno's house. "What will you do?" I asked. "Nothing. What can I do?" "Get away, surely you could." "You mean my machine? But where would I go?" "The coast?" I suggested. He did not reply. We were silent. Then he said, "I take it you have no plans to go yourself?" "I don't know yet. I'm supposed to stay. I promised I would. That is, as long as you do. But when it comes to the point, I don't know." "As a woman, you're in more danger. At the worst, they'll only kill me. I mean, even if they torture me, I haven't much stamina. Soon over. But you're young." 40, I said idly. 41 next month. "Young enough," he said. "And we've heard the stories of what they do with females. Alien females." "Yes." "I'll run away then." "Then you should leave tonight?" His face was beaky and the cruel lines sharpened. As with the moth, he didn't like to let me have my death. "No, that isn't necessary." "Do you want the machine?" he asked abruptly. Was this sinister, this offer? I wouldn't be able to drive it. Laitel could show you. I'm not very good with new mechanical things. It would get you to the coast. That's where the airlift will be, if there is one. I'd rather not. Reluctantly, I added, "Thank you." He raised the crystal bottle and poured another piqua for himself, and next for me. "Cheers," said Lohno. We drank, and somewhere at the garden's end, where the cultivated wilderness dropped down in stony levels to the thin surface waters and the glutinous mud trees of the swamp, a gurricula gave its long hoarse cry. "Out hunting," he said. "When the enemy come in, things will be easier for it. They lose their skills, you know," he added to me. "Creatures, when there are wars. A buffet's laid on for them of the dead. They get lazy, but then I've heard the enemy shoot scavengers." When I was on the outer stair going up to the roof, I looked down and glimpsed the Guricula at the garden's end. Its long, pale body, half lamplit and freckled by shadows, was nosing in Lohno's rubbish tip. Presently it pulled out a curious thing that looked like a paper-bound book. Either Lohno or Laitel or some eccentric neighbor must have flung it there. With this in its jaws, the Guricula loped away, its eyes gleaming. It appeared mindless, ugly and beautiful at the same moment. Animals often look like that to me, and, I confess, other races. Laitel, for example, with his long eyes, the pupil and iris indistinguishable and black, the inner bluish lid. His face was a perfect oval, feminine in its hairless smoothness. As with many of his people, his tongue was black and rough as a cat's. He was slightly shorter than I, slim and small-boned, his skin so white that when I put my hand upon it, every time I felt a transgressor. Looking at Laitel, all Laitel's race, I could see no soul in them. Or do I mean no physical soul, the personality? Despite or because of that, we had been having sex together almost every night. My apartment was on the roof, an old summer house of bamboo with waxed paper shutters rolled up to let in the humid and unmoving air. I went in and pushed my things about on the table. Then I sat on the sofa and tried the Mobex. Nothing came through but static. The firm, excited voices which had asked me if I would stay to see the fall of the city were blocked off from me by some noiseless electric storm high above, or some powerful ray discharged across the sea. It was possible my communicating link would not clear in time to allow me to deliver a report. I would have to record it then. Sometime they would be able to access this recording, even if by then the Mobex were a kilometer down in the swamp, and I in some coffle of women, chained at the ankle and driven southward in service to the soldiers of the enemy. Below, the yellow oil light shifted from the veranda. A patch of darkness formed there, intensifying the liquid jades of the garden. When I came to the house to interview Lohno Tesmain, I had known there would be danger, but I'd wanted to see the city. In the first 3 or 4 days, in the mornings before Lohno got out of bed, I'd walked about, or taken the hutchas, pulled by ponies, by men, women, or even teams of 6 children. 8 were needed for the heavier traveler. So I saw and photexed the old mansions of Flower Street, 6 kilometers of them, like ice sculptures, and the lush gardens with their blazing winter flowers. Also the temples in Q Square, and the fountain with its columns and serpents, the water playing rather dry and brown that day, but people still drinking from it. I had photexed the Duval Library, the Earthlight Hotel, and the Monument to Silence. I did spend one morning in the Jush, photexing the shacks and huts, the tin roofs jolly with rust from summer rains, the dye works where the swamp is poison iris color. But you see such things everywhere. That was only duty. Lohno never got up till lunch. Lunch was his first meal. Over scores of little dishes, shoots and beans fried in peanut oil, salt mangoes, scrambled eggs and pig meat, rice, bread, jam, coffee. I placed questions before him. Sometimes he answered them. Everything was nothing to Lohno. He had done so much. His only goal seemed to be this latent intent one of preventing others from experiencing anything. On the first morning he had said, in answer to my inquiry about his daughter, whether he sheltered her so severely because he feared his rivals would harm her, that he was good at living, but she had seemed not to be. He added that most of us, of all races and types, seemed to have no notion of how to be alive, and so we were best protected from the state. Can you
Sample complete. Ready to continue?